Welcome back! Last time we discussed design libraries and the modular design approach. If you followed along, you should now have your very own design library, ADV CMOS here, set up. And this time we're going to add our very first circuits to that library. To set up our first circuit, make sure that we have our library selected here, then go to File, New and Cell View, which opens up this window where we can then fill in a name. Now, because we want to make an inverter, let's call it INV, and make sure that schematic here is selected. There are many different ways how we can represent our circuit, but for this case we really want a schematic. Click on OK, and we'll see our inverter over here in the library. And we get this nice canvas window where we can start drawing our circuit. So let's start doing that. Now to place our transistors, we can go to Create, an instance, or just press I on our keyboard. And you can already see this little capacitor show up. Let's zoom in a bit here. We can scroll with the mouse wheel to zoom in and pan by clicking on the middle mouse button or the mouse wheel. Now this would be a capacitor, but we really want to place a transistor. So to find the transistor, let's go to the library NCSU devices 3PDK45. And we can then find the transistors over here. Now we discussed this last time. There are 8 different models for the transistors, 4 of which are NMOS transistors and 4 of which are PMOS transistors. We have them in low threshold voltage, high threshold voltage and nominal threshold voltage versions. And we have a thick oxide model. Now in this case, if we go for a very low threshold voltage, that means that we get a lot of current for a very small gate source voltage or overdrive voltage. So that will make a very fast transistor. Let's use those transistors for this particular circuit. So for example, let's go with the PMOS first. Keep all of these parameters to their default values, and then we can place it somewhere here on the canvas. So click with the left mouse button to place one of them. And now to stop placing more of these transistors, you can press the escape button on your keyboard, and that will also remove this highlight from your mouse. We also want to place an NMOS transistor, so go to Create Instance, and we'll then go to NMOS VTL to place the NMOS transistor over here. Now last time we discussed how we were going to use modular design in this particular schematic, which means that we're going to define our inverter circuit like a black box with defined inputs and outputs. Now to do that in Cadence, we need to explicitly place some components in here called pins. And those pins will define what those inputs and outputs are. Now to place a pin, we can always go to Create and then Pin, or press P on the keyboard, which opens this window. Now we can choose a name. Let's call this one In for the input. Then we can set the direction of this particular pin. For instance, for this particular input pin, we can explicitly declare this to be an input type pin. However, it's equally allowed to assign it to an input-output type, but then we do lose warnings when we run the simulation and something is wrong between these definitions. Then click on Hide, and now you can see where we can place the pin and put it somewhere like over here. We can now repeat this for the supply pin, so VDD, which will be on top, the ground pin, which will be on the bottom, and the output pin, which will be on the right hand side. So let's do that. By the way, you can rotate the pin by clicking on the right mouse button or by pressing the R key on your keyboard. Now the only task that remains is us having to wire up everything. To do that, you can go to Create and then Wire, or press the W key on your keyboard, which will show this little snake icon next to the mouse. And we can then just use the left mouse button to place the wire like this. So we'll connect the gates of the PMOS and NMOS transistors to the input pin. We'll connect the source of the PMOS to VDD, the source of the NMOS to ground. We'll connect the drains of both transistors to each other and to the output pin. And finally, also make sure that you connect the bulks of both transistors to the respective supply pins. So the bulk pin of the PMOS is connected to VDD and the bulk pin of the NMOS is connected to ground. And with that, we've wired up the entire circuit. Now, before we move on, it's very important that you familiarize yourself with saving this file. You do that by going to this button, which is called Check and Save. You can click on it. This will do two things. It will first run some checks on how your circuit looks, so it checks whether it can actually be simulated, and then it will save the file for you. Let's give an example of where this check and save function would show you an error. We can do that, for example, by connecting the input to the output. Now the input and the output are the same voltage, so they aren't independently defined anymore. We can press check and save, and indeed, we see that there is an error between these two nodes. So then to remove this error, just click on the wire, then press the delete key on your keyboard and do check and save again. So now we have the correct schematic again. Something else that's also quite useful to know is that if you ever make a small mistake, like for example placing a wire where you don't want to place a wire, you can press the U key on your keyboard to undo anything. You can press Shift and U to redo that action. Those two functions are also here in the top toolbar, so undo and redo. Now with all that done, we can now take this inverter model that we've created and put it in its own black box representation, which we'll call a symbol. Now to do that, we need to go to Create, Cell View, from Cell View. So here you can check that indeed we're going to create a symbol from the schematic. We press on OK. And then we can define where the pins on that symbol are going to be located. For this particular symbol, it makes sense to place VDD on the top, to place the output on the right, to place the input on the left, and to place the ground on the bottom. And if you then press OK, we'll see a symbol that looks something like this, where indeed the input is on the left, the output is on the right, the ground is on the bottom, and the VDD is on the top. Now make sure that we check and save this symbol, and then we can close both windows. Indeed, we have made small change, so press yes to save, and now we're done. You can now see in the library manager that we now have two representations for the inverter. We have its schematic, so those are the two transistors that we've placed, and we have the symbol. With all of that done, we can now create the testbench schematic. So that's the schematic where we're going to place the inverter and the surrounding ideal components that we need to run the simulation. We'll do that in the exact same way as before, so just go to File, New, Cell View, and we'll call this one inverter_TB for testbench. The first thing we're going to do now is place the inverter that we just designed. So press I on the keyboard to place an instance. We can then go to our own library, so ADV CMOS, and then go to inverter, and there we see the symbol that we just created. Now place it somewhere over here. And then we need some other components. So first we need a ground node. The ground node we can find in the analog lib library, which is over here. And the name of that cell is GND. We can now place that one over here. We also need a voltage supply for the VDD pin. Now, we can do that with the VDC component in the analog lib library, which looks like this. We just place it somewhere to the left, so let's place it here. We still need to assign a value to this supply. We can do that by clicking on it, right-click, Properties, and then we can set the DC voltage in this box. So let's set it to 1.2 volts. What would also be nice is if we could have another ground node, this one specifically for this DC voltage supply. We can do that by right-clicking on the ground node and press Copy, then click on the ground node and place the next instance of it somewhere over here. The only two components that we still need to add to this test bench are some input voltage source and some output load. The input voltage source is going to be a sine wave generator. The sine wave voltage supply can be found in the analog lib library as the vsin component, and it has many parameters of which we do need to set some up. We want to create a sine wave that is centered around half the supply voltage, so that would be 600 millivolts, so let's do that, 600 M. The sine wave will have an amplitude of 600 millivolts and a frequency of 100 kilohertz. And with that set up, we can press hide and place the component over here. So we can do that by using the cap component in the analog lib library here. And let's assign a value of something like 50 picofarads. The last thing that remains is that we have to wire this all up. So let's do that like we did before by pressing W on our keyboard and adding connections between the components. All the necessary components are now in the schematic, but there is one small additional step which I would personally recommend to make your simulations a bit easier to read. And that step is labeling your input and output nodes. Now, you can do that by going to Create and then choosing Wire Name, choosing a name, so let's do that for the input node, and then clicking somewhere on that node, so somewhere on the wire, here. We can do the same thing for the output node, just press L on the keyboard, which is the shortcut for adding a wire name, and clicking on the output node. Run a check and save, and now we're done setting up the test bench. So now we have a complete schematic and test bench for our inverter circuit. Next time, we're going to bring this circuit to life by running our first simulations. See you then.